This might be a two-parter. Here's your disclaimer. Sex, drugs, alcohol, cutting, suicide, eating disorders. If you're not interested in any of that, then please exit right now. Hopefully, this won't be a part 3 or, a 4-parter, but we're going to try to keep it to a 2-parter. We're going to do something called Let's Be Real. I am 24 years old, and I am a mother to 2 children. My oldest is about to be 6 in August. My youngest will be 4 on Halloween. To me, the most important thing is my children to never grow up the way I grew up. That is one of the most important things to me. For that, I do seek therapy, and I do struggle quite a bit. I will not lie. I do. I am a good mother. I am. My kids are clothed, bathed, house is cleaned, everything's taken care of. I am a great mother. I do have difficulties in other areas of my life, but I am a great mother, and I am an amazing wife. And even my husband will tell you that. I go beyond the distance for my children because as I was growing up, I realized that I don't want to be like her. My mother was abused by my father and by my stepfather. And it was really hard to deal with. She couldn't deal with it. And I couldn't deal with it so bad that I broke out in hives over it. Because all the abuse. When I was 10, I developed an eating disorder. I was bulimic with anorexic tendencies. When I was 13, I started scratching. Scratching is what you do normally before you start cutting for most people. It's just scratching away. And, it develops into cutting at times. And sometimes the cutting can develop into burning. And my mother didn't pay enough attention to me. I swear she didn't. I don't feel like she did, to be honest. I'm 24 years old, and I can honestly say that I feel like my mother has never loved me. Never loved me. I feel like no one has ever loved me, to be honest. It's really, really hard. So, I started scratching at 13, and by the time I was 15, I was full-blown on cutting. My mother pulled me out of school when I was 15 because I was being made fun of because I sound like a chipmunk. And then that was that. She went to work, left me at home. I went out with friends. I partied a lot. I snuck out at night. I popped pills that she had laying around that she never even realized was missing. I was always in and out of it. Thinking back, I can't believe that she didn't notice. There was a day that she came home and I had a huge episode. I had cut myself from my wrist, both sides, all the way up to my shoulder, right here. And in order to take care of me, my mother told me the story about how she was raped as a child and that I don't have it that bad. She bandaged me up and sent me on my way. A few weeks later, I slit my wrist. She told my brother, Jessica's just being crazy. Ignore her. I was 15. I was 15. If my little girl came to me at 15 and she was cutting herself, I would have taken her out and got her help. I asked for help when I was 13, and she told me it was all inside my head. It's always been all inside my head. I don't have the scars to prove it. That's right. My thighs aren't covered in scars. I don't question the fact whether or not anyone loves me. I wasn't 16 doing sexual things just for someone to love me. No. It's all inside my head. By the time I was 16, I did every little sexual thing besides sex that you could do. And I did a lot of it for coke. I won't lie. I really did. I was a coke addict. And my mother didn't even freaking notice. She didn't even notice. I started dropping weight like crazy. Everybody in the neighborhood was talking about it. And she was like, no, that's not it. That's not it. I quit eating. I completely quit eating. I just started throwing food away. And if I did eat, I threw up. I went weeks without eating. I didn't care. I lived on NyQuil. I slept 24/7 so I wouldn't have to see her. Because seeing her made me feel worse about myself. I allowed men to bite me to the point to where I almost bled. I allowed men to cut me. I allowed men to burn me. I had oral sex behind buildings. I had oral sex with people in front of their girlfriends. I lived on alcohol. I knew every little place to get pain pills. Didn't matter. I knew where to get them. Knew exactly what to do. I couldn't. I was taken to the hospital July 22nd of 2005. I was admitted for overdosing on NyQuil, but I hadn't actually overdosed. After I had talked to the therapist at the psychiatric ward, they had sent me home. I'm very surprised it didn't keep me, to be honest. The same day they sent me home, I came home and slept 2 hours. 2 hours later, my mother said, yeah, you can go out, go have fun, go do whatever you want. I just got out of the psychiatric ward. I had been there all night long. I had been photographed, looked at, everything. And go out, have fun, go do whatever you want. I was 17. It didn't matter at that time, she said. What did matter, though, was that my mother told them that I was so crazy that they handcuffed me and put me in the back of the car and told me that they were going to take me to jail at 17 because I was crazy. Yet I was at the hospital because I asked somebody to take me to the hospital because my husband took me to the hospital. Yeah. When I got pregnant with my son in 2005, my entire life changed. I changed. I was bringing somebody into this world. I was delivering a baby boy. I can't be a cutter. I can't be suicidal. I can't do drugs. I can't drink like this. I can't do any of that. No. No, 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 no. I've got to be a mother. And being a mother means I have to be a better mother than my mother. I have to do every freaking thing possible to be better than my mother. I have to work longer hours. I have to make sure everything is in order. I have to make sure that I don't have to go out and screw somebody to pay my bills. No. I have to do every little thing I can to make sure things happen and make sure that everything is okay. So getting pregnant with my son was a blessing for me. It couldn't have come in a better time, to be honest. It really couldn't have. My grandfather had just died, and he is the only person that I swear has ever loved me. And when he passed away, a part of me passed away too. And I have not come back from it. So, I had my little boy. I gave up drinking 24/7. I gave up alcohol, or not alcohol. I gave up popping pills. I gave up everything. I wouldn't even take the Vicodin after having a C-section. I wouldn't even let them give it to me. I told them, no. I am a recovering addict. Do not give me anything. I do not need it. I will bear through the pain. I don't care how bad it is. I will bear through it. It was pretty intense too. But I did it. And I'm happy. I'm happy to say that I can say that I have relapsed at times and I have cut at times, but it's been years since I've cut, and it's been years since I've OD'd. And I OD'd in 2009. I had postpartum depression after my daughter was born. She was a NICU baby. It was very, very hard to deal with. And the doctor gave me Zoloft, and he gave me 100 milligrams to start with. And then he took me off of it after having me on it for 2.5 months. He took me off, and he told me that I had to come straight off. Don't stop. Come straight off. Like, don't wing yourself. And after 3 days of being off of it, it just went to my head. And from everything I've learned, that some people just don't deal with Zoloft very well, and it does happen. So to me, I can understand why it happened, because I do battle with depression. So that's just another part of me. But yeah, right now I'm at the stage where I am trying to control my bulimia. It's very hard. It's very difficult. No one tells you that we're going to end this and move on to part 2, actually, is what we're going to do. So.